Yo, Chad.
Hey, it worked.
Nice.
Yeah, we're good.
Perfect. All right, I'm gonna invite them. How are you doing today?
Oh, dude, I'm pretty exhausted at this point in the day. So, yeah, I don't know. I
Yeah.
feel like I'm still trying to catch up on sleep.
Yeah, I feel that after this weekend for sure.
hmm So we'll do the same thing
Cool.
where
There.
like I'll ask most of the questions, but you'll like do the intro and questions and stuff.
Correct.
Okay, cool.
Nice. Just getting some final touches in. Taunt and Joey, what's up? Nice to see you here.
What's up, Jess?
Yo, Saba. What's up? How you
What's
doing?
going on, brother?
Just chilling. Really happy and excited that you both are on. I know we're still waiting for Robbie, but yeah, just looking forward to hearing everything you have to say, really.
It's good chatting. It's good chatting. How are you guys doing?
Really good.
Did you guys make it
Glad
out
you guys are
to
hanging
NFT
out.
LA last week at all?
We did not. I mean, I actually didn't hear about it until pretty late, but I feel like this year kind of was gonna see how it played out, and then like for sure make sure I'm on the list for next year.
Mm-hmm.
How
Yeah,
how
same here.
was it?
I mean, I think NFT LA was pretty. It was solid. I definitely thought NFT New York was. I think it was at that time things were a little bit more exciting here in the market. In
hmm
real life meetups are just starting, so I don't think like as many people were in the industry. So if you were going out,
hmm
like there were like a lot of people that were decision makers that were out and about and easier to like stumble into. If that makes sense.
hmm
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
but there's also a whole idea of like there's just been so many damn events. Like if you really think about it, like right afterwards was NFT Miami. This weekend it's NFT San Diego. I'm out here in San Diego, so I was just gonna stop
Mm,
by because it was local. But there's just been so many
wow.
events that I think it's a little bit less centric. If you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah. It's not like ETH Denver or something where everyone just shows up to like the one event.
Did you make it out to East Denver?
I didn't, but I watched like a lot of like what went on there,
Yeah.
and I mean, I feel like I heard from the beginning that it was going to be like insane and like way too small and overcrowded, and like it totally was. But like
That tends to be the case for a lot of these things where it's
yeah.
like overcrowded. You don't really. Well, the thing about LA was that it's so spread out that you're in like Beverly Hills at one point, then you're in downtown, and then
Mm,
you're near the beach, and all of a sudden
No, that sounds so cool.
you just you just traveled
hmm.
all around like LA, and getting around LA is not easy at all. So I
Yeah.
know I know Sab and I were like in an Uber probably half the time rather than actually being at an event.
Oh my
Mm.
gosh. What was like the most like interesting thing you like got out there, like you saw or learned or whatnot?
Well,
I mean,
I was pretty quick. I was in and out, and I would say for me, it was hands down was the Cameo Pass event. Cameo Pass, they had like a little private event at their house, which I believe was like just the house specifically for. I'm not sure necessarily Cameo Pass holders, but more along the lines of places where they could like host parties or get-togethers. It was like right there, smack dab in the middle of LA, which is pretty sick. Um,
Mm,
but we were able to like meet definitely a couple different different people from the community, shake some hands, heard a lot of pretty cool new upcoming projects that are coming up in the Web3 space. And we're doing some of those follow-ups now, which is always fun.
Yeah, I think for me it was like the coolest part about it is, you know, when I was going to like crypto events back in like 2016, 2017, even like during like the craze of like when crypto really got big in like 2017 for that blip in like the time period, is like it was still very skeptical, and like, you know, things, there wasn't any like as big of names as it usually was. Nowadays when you go to like these events and stuff, you know, you can kind of gauge how pop culture and where the money's going, like especially in investments and where tech's going, like based upon like these events, right? So like all of a sudden you start seeing, you know, celebrities or athletes, or you start seeing these big VCs that are coming in, going to all these even like smaller events, right? That's usually like it's like a leading indicator on like something's going on here, right? Especially on like the play to earn side, or even on like just like regular NFT side. So, you know, that's usually like a, you know, especially because like crypto's not the only thing I've been in. Like Saba and I are in IT, we're in a bunch of different things. So, it's definitely cool to see like that's, you know, it's a good sign you're headed in the right direction, right?
Which,
Yeah, it's a good thing to look for.
Which leads us perfectly to, you know, why we're here today. There's a lot of excitement around play to earn, just like blockchain gaming in general. And, you know, we're really excited to be able to work with you all and talk to you about this game today. And so just to introduce Taunt Battleworld, in your white paper, it states that you're the first engaged to earn NFT fighting game simulator developed by industry veterans from Amazon, EA, and Unity, set in an apocalyptic world of old gods have turned Earth into their personal playground called Battleworld. Really excited to have you both on and learn a lot more about your game. Ben, pass it on to Chad to talk to you a little bit more about, you know, how this game came about and what you're currently doing.
Yeah, thanks Juan for setting that up, and I'll lead it right to you, Robbie, if you can tell us the story behind Taunt Battleworld, because I think a lot of people listening to this podcast will just have never heard of it before, and just want to give them the rundown.
Yeah, so Taunt's been in the works now for, I think it's been 10 to 11 months. Saba and I, we come from, you know, we've been in a lot of different tech backgrounds. Saba comes a little bit more from traditional esports gaming. I come from a technology solutions company. I used to work with Linnell Dell HP on that end. And then most of our team is all in a background on esports. Jeff, our CEO, has been working in esports for the last 25 years. He worked for EA Games. He started Amazon's App Store, where he produced most of their big events. Saba as well worked with Jeff on that end. So Taunt originally came from, you know, we eventually got into crypto in like 2016, 2017, like I was mentioning. And, you know, Saba and I immediately saw like, this is something a lot bigger than we think, is just like a fad, right? Eventually fast forward to, you know, around, you know, 10 to 11 months, even a year ago, Jeff was obviously very involved in esports. He was very involved with crypto as well. And he saw Saba and I playing a game called Zed Run, which is a very popular play to earn game where you race horses. And that was kind of Saba and I's first step into NFTs and play to earn games. And Jeff, as he saw it, looked at us and said, you guys are watching this Zed Run game. Your NFT is right now racing to earn money. He's like, how does this work? Right. So we kind of went through it, and Jeff, like, his mind started to turn, and so did ours, where we're like, why are we not doing this at scale to build a game that's actually like based around an actual game that can scale, right? So that's kind of where the wheels started turning. You know, Saba and I continue to play Zed Run, and the reason we aren't really playing it now is the game kind of, you know, they didn't really listen to their community, and the scaling issue was a really big issue with them when it came to tournaments and when it came to just the overall play to earn aspect. So, you know, we just started working on Taunt, and that's kind of how this came to be. You know, usually like you'll see it in a lot of communities, like these NFTs, they build out, you know, whatever their community is, or they build out and then an NFT and they say, here it is, you know, here's your PFP, and you know, we're going to kind of figure out the game on the other side. We kind of did it the opposite, where we built out the game. We built out exactly what we're going to be doing on the play to earn side, and now we're building out, what the NFT is going to be. Kind of trying to grow the game organically, and build out a beta version game so people can actually, we can build out a scalable game. So that's kind of where we're started. Most of the guys on all our team are traditional esports guys, coming from that end. So it's a little different because usually the guys that are building NFTs right now are like NFT or crypto guys, where we've been that, but most of our corporate experience is all centered around esports.
Yeah, I like how you started with the team, because I feel like right now in the crypto space, if you're looking at projects, you're always starting with the team first, and whether or not you believe they can execute on something. So really appreciate you just like drawing that out, like who the founders are and how you guys are fit to execute on this.
Yeah, we're all like docs. Like we really like want people to know, this is where we come from. This is what we've built, and this is what we've accomplished over the last 20 years. So, that's definitely our strength. And we're pretty confident on that end, right? On the building the game side.
How do you think your experience in esports will translate into your game? Like, what do you think the future of esports looks like for play to earn?
Yeah, I think so. Or go ahead, Saba.
Yeah, I could take a stab at this one. So I think just NFTs in general are just such a attractive technology. I mean, coming even from not even esports, but just crypto in general in 2016, things have developed. So many different altcoins came. There's the ICO boom, and things are developing. But NFTs are in fact just a new form of technology. But this concept, I think, that really attracted Jeff and attracted myself, and a lot of the things that we bring from our mobile gaming background into the ecosystem are this idea that NFTs are just more than just making money. You have this idea of being able to include DeFi mechanisms and technology into it, but it's an idea of having almost like a social token and an idea of community is also backed into whatever community or whatever NFT project you are. So I think that's a key portion of play to earn that we think is going to be very similar to what we saw in esports. This idea of, if you're part of a community, if you're a Call of Duty player, if you're a Fortnite player, you associate yourself and your friends are generally the Call of Duty or Fortnite players. Where it's the same thing that we saw in NFTs. If your DAO or your group of friends or your private chats all playing Zedrun, the Zedrun guys, or if you guys are ape holders, you guys are generally, your friend group are all ape holders because you guys all went in together or aped in together, no pun intended. But when you look at play to earn, and I think you look at esports, there's a very key characteristic that we're bringing in experience. In particular, it actually ties back into mobile gaming and this concept of microtransactions and creating utility in a gaming environment. So when you look at what we're trying to do with Taunt Battleworld, things are very similar to most mobile games that we were working with back in the day. So this idea of it being almost free to play, get into the ecosystem. You have a ticket into the ecosystem, and then once you're in the ecosystem, you could be able to play for different boosts or pay for different skins or pay for different type of wearables, and all those wearables are going to give you extra advantages or extra utility throughout the game. So I think those are incredibly similar. I think this general concept that we're going into a world where NFTs are still so new, this is all still so early, and I really truly believe that. But with that being said, you've already starting to see so many different projects come into the NFT ecosystem, right? Every day there's 5 to 20 launches, and some of these are pretty hyped, but a lot of these are built off of hype and they're just fundraisers, right? So you're selling it or pitching an idea. This community is basically fundraising that idea. And then maybe 3 or 4 months later, there's a companion drop and they're continuously fundraising that idea. And then you get a token drop, and all of a sudden there's more money into the ecosystem. A project could be 8, 9 months in, and then they're starting to begin this idea of actually going out and getting developers and building the gaming concept. We wanted to do things a little bit backwards. So as Bobby was highlighting, this for Taunt Battleworld really started about 10 months ago.
And in this journey, we're able to get so many things in place, getting a solid team together that has experience not only Web3, but esports and gaming, in tournaments, and tournament liquidity. So these are all concepts that we want to bring in from the esports side into obviously our play to earn game. But in addition to that, we're able to do a lot of things like build our legal team, right? Build the foundation of our actual structure of our corporations, right? Get partnerships like our esports technology partnership, which will be able to take our data feeds and build live gaming through esports technologies, actual ecosystem. They're publicly traded. Their home is actually in Ireland, so they're legally allowed to be a gambling entity. We're actually a U.S.-based company, so we're not allowed to have any gambling in house. But being able to partner with someone like Esports Technology, a publicly traded company in Ireland, they're actually able to build live gaming products. So doing things like that was definitely a huge head start for us, while also being able to develop actual product that's extremely close to launch, right? So there's, as you guys know, being in the gaming industry, there's no way to really rush through a beta. And that's exactly what we're doing right now with our Genesis Skull Pass. We have 2,500 out. We think that our beta for around 2,500 people is going to be plenty to make sure things like security work out for us, things like scalability, fixing the bugs on the ecosystem for our base beta layer of the game. But we don't necessarily need to branch off or blow up a giant marketing plan in order to make sure we execute on those items. And I think looking back and tying back into our model, it's one of those things where we've been in development for 10 months. We're able to create 50 different base characters of our fighters. All these base characters are 3D. They're fully rigged. We're super excited to get these out to the community. And it just, I think when people start to see, oh, this is the type of work that's already been done into the ecosystem, and and the beta is functioning, and that beta is going to have $100,000 prize pool that's dev funded. All of a sudden, we're doing more than projects that have been live, pumping communities for a year plus, and this is our first month out in the ecosystem for our beta, right? So our commitment, I think, looking at the longevity of the platform, putting the pieces in place in our foundation, I think having our strategies a little bit batshit backwards in this ecosystem, but it's so exciting because we know how fast things get moving. Because right now there's not that many. It's crazy because there's really not that many games in the ecosystem right now that are play to earn, out functioning. Probably I would say under 10 that I could really think of on the top of my mind. But that's kind of some excitement that we're bringing, in particular to that esports comment. I think you're really going to start to see things differentiate when we start to introduce things like tournament liquidity, when we introduce things like leagues and seasons, when we're able to really showcase our ability for production. Bobby highlighted that we came from Amazon's esports. The team, what we're really doing is taking mobile games and bring them into production, throwing in big prize pools, bringing in influencers, being able to utilize our connections with Twitch, our connections with YouTube Gaming, being able to stream these mobile games on the highest of ends of production through our partners like eStars and a few others, where we're able to take mobile games and all of a sudden make them these giant productions. So that's kind of really the scope of. We don't generally talk about it, and we're not showcasing it. I know a lot of people in our community have seen our developer stream, but these stories of people from third world countries playing Taunt Battleworld, coming to the final round or the final championship, and following that player's journey and being able to do so in a fashion where we understand esports and the cinema and the story that it brings behind each player. That's where we'll start to, I feel like, really start to separate, because that's what sells, right? People love the underdog story. People love how every single NFT or any single fighter could have its own journey into the ecosystem. So I think that kind of hits it a little bit, Shad. But if you want me to dive in a little bit,
that's a lot there.
When Saba gets going, he gets very passionate.
Yeah, he's excited. He's really
Exactly.
excited. I want one specific question, Saba, for you on esports is it a necessary component for a play to earn game? Like, do you
Mhm.
think?
I think as things scale in the play to earn realm, because I truly do believe NFTs are so early. I really do think they're so early. And we highlighted it earlier in one of our calls, but there's 3 billion gamers and we have less than like a million open sea wallets. I'm not even sure where Coinbase NFTs at, but they've been talking about this marketplace for like 6 to 9 months of bringing in this other pump, and
Hmm
we haven't seen it yet. But I do think play to earn is really a key component in this entire mix because it provides real utility, right? The roadmaps that we see from all companies and even some of the GOATs are all turning to play to earn because they hit a wall when it comes to utility, right? Now, granted, I'm a huge believer in art. I'm a huge believer in things like historic items, for example, let it be CryptoPunks or Bored Apes now, even being just a historic piece of the of crypto just in general, right? And how they're so important in NFTs. When you look at all these other projects that are popping up, 10, 20, 30, 40 plus projects a day, they're all going to run the same roadmap, and then they're going to hit a point where they're going to try to find utility and aim the play to earn realm. A lot of people don't understand the complexities that come with creating a game, understanding gaming economies, understanding tokenomics, understanding how to develop a player's journey, game loops, right? Components that are even hard. I think earn will make it there. I think it's going to be a lot simpler, actually, believe it or not. I'm not sure. I don't
Stop.
think a lot of people are going to. Did I lose you guys?
But I think, yeah, I think
So
you're kind of breaking up a little bit there on your.
is that better?
You were just
Yeah.
just a little choppy. Yeah, you sound good.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I was gonna say
And,
it'd be a little surprising, but I don't think play to earn is gonna go into a space where a lot of people think, or a lot maybe even yourself think, or is gonna go. I don't think it's gonna be as complicated as a lot of people think. I think big gaming studios are gonna make their way into the space, but a lot of people that want to go and invest into NFTs or invest into play to earn don't necessarily want to be playing the game for 12 to 18 hours a day, right? Which is an interesting take, but I think it's going to be something that we'll start to see what really makes it as 2022 develops.
mm-hmm.
Chad,
I'm not sure if that answered my initial question of like,
yeah,
is esports a necessary component for a play to earn
yeah,
game?
yeah. So like that, my opinion on that is, I think
Uh,
it's two pronged, right? I think esports is getting so big now that in order to
mhm,
scale a game, no matter what it is, like you see it in a lot of these play to earn games, there comes
mhm,
an inflation issue because a lot of these games, they're modeling themselves after 100,000 players, right? They're modeling themselves after a certain threshold of players that they not need to
mhm,
hit. So
mhm,
when you bring in esports, obviously esports is growing substantially when it comes to being competitive in a game, right?
mhm,
So in like, and this is just again my personal opinion in terms
mhm,
of growing an actual play to earn game. We're still, like Sal said, we're still so early. How do you think of ways to grow a game? Right? Well, you need
mhm,
more users. If esports is growing substantially, and you can get a
mhm,
piece of that, if you can get a piece of that pie to get those
mhm,
users, I think any way that you can try to do that, that's going to be the best way to grow a game. Just because it's becoming, I mean, you see it, on the streams, you see
mhm.
it on viewership. Esports is getting more viewers than baseball sometimes. Their big League of
Right.
Legends players are getting more
Mhm,
views than God knows what you can get. When these
mhm,
guys have 20,000 viewers in the middle of a day on a Wednesday, these players are now like becoming bigger than some athletes.
mhm,
So in our opinion, I mean, this is again my opinion. Esports is going to have to play some kind of role from a competitive standpoint and also from just a scalability standpoint, right? Like, like just with the current how the current climate of crypto is right now, there needs to be more players for play to earn to be one more competitive and two
mhm,
kill the inflationary issue.
mhm,
Um, So I don't know. I don't know how it's going to look like in the future on if it's necessary or if it's not. But I think it's definitely a tool you can use to actually grow the play to earn and NFT space.
Yeah, I think you're really addressing a good market there with people who are interested in competition, bringing that into your game. I think those people will relate really well to the play to earn component of your game as well. Like that's something they'll be interested in.
It's crazy too, because like these people will actually own their in-game assets, which I think is like still a crazy thing that like current gamers, like it's, you know, how the battle is between current gamers right now, where it's like they, you know, current gamers don't want to go into the play to earn realm, or they don't want to go in the NFT realm because in my opinion, it makes complete sense. Like, why would you not want to own your in-game assets and be able to actually, you know, make money or trade on them, right? So that's where I don't know where the disconnect is. But what we're trying to do is, you know, you have to have eyeballs to make something scalable. Our game is all 3D rendered. We want to make sure it's as streamable as possible. That's why we have Engage to Earn as well, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a little bit. Is the more people we can bring into the game and the better it can be for viewership, that's only going to grow the play to earn space. So, you know, like we're building a game that can be scalable and bring in new users through Engage to Earn, and also just the actual gameplay and the way it looks, right?
Yeah, I actually want to go into that point next because you have this quote in your white paper called, it says, engage to earn, watch to earn, predict to earn. Can you just talk to me? What are those three things? What do they mean?
Yeah, I think it's a crazy. It's definitely a new sector of the entire environment that we're creating, and to even get there initially, I think it's important to know what Taunt Gaming is, which is the parent company of Taunt Battleworld, and how Jeff was able to acquire basically assets and patents of Taunt Gaming, and how this shifted into Taunt Battleworld. So Jeff was able to basically acquire Taunt Gaming, which was VC funded. They're actually from Seattle, and what they created was an actual viewership tool for an esports stream. And this was a fully built API that was an overlay on a Twitch stream, on a YouTube stream, on any kind of stream that was streaming an esports event. And it was fully patented. And basically, what it was an engagement tool. So if as a viewer, I'm watching, let's just say, Fortnite, and I'm watching Ninja stream. As a viewer now, I could guess questions that would populate during the stream. So is Ninja going to get the next kill with a shotgun? Yes or no? And if I would get these answers correct as a viewer, I would be able to compete with other viewers and make my way up a leadership board. Naturally, the higher I got up into the leadership, the more prizes I got. Very, very similar to like a DraftKings or FanDuel model tournaments and such. So he was sitting, and this is actually the real origin of Taunt Gaming. It was the beginning of COVID. They were kind of going under because of COVID, and one of his old employees, Jeff's old employees at EA, kind of reached out. Hey, I'm an exec at this company. We're out here in Seattle. We've gotten funded by Axiomatic and Foundry Group, two big VCs that did investments into even Fortnite and Pokemon Go, if you guys remember. So huge VCs in the space. And they had a solid team, an incredible product. And Jeff was able to make an acquisition in hopes to take that technology. And if you guys remember, for all you sports gamblers out there, this is a crazy concept, but this was the truth. When sports ended in the beginning of COVID, people were going out and actually gambling on streams of simulated games. So they were, let it be Madden or NBA 2K. They were able to right then on the game be able to wager on these streams through numerous sports books. So the concept originally was like, okay, we'll take this technology and we'll go build a sports betting product. And the issue with that was obviously licensing through the NFL and Madden. You have to get a new license every year. But when Jeff was watching myself and Robert play a Zed run, and us trying to find out which one of our horses is faster, and there was hours and hours of content with no engagement, that's really when the light bulb came on for Taunt Battleworld. But instead of doing horse racing, what we're going to do is make fighters, and there's so much more room to run with fighting, right? It's so much sexier. You could bring in new characters and IP, and unlike horse racing, which is really limited to just horses on a track being short or long distance. So that was the real concept of Taunt Battleworld, and I think the real game changer fundamentally for us is going to be when we're introducing our concept of engage to earn. So that product is fully built. We've had developers now transitioning that product from being an overlay on a normal esports stream to being an interactive tool that's going to be on top of our NFT play to earn game. And why we think this is so revolutionary is looking at generally the entire market of play to earn as it stands right now. There is a huge issue with basically an onboarding scale of people being able to afford a 4, 5, 6-figure NFT to get into the play to earn environment. Looking at Axie, I think Axie was such a terrific model because they introduced this concept of sponsorships, like you guys are well aware of, right? And now so many more people could get entered into the ecosystem through sponsorships. We'll obviously have a leasing model and a sponsorship model here at Taunt Battleworld, but this concept now of having an ability where if I don't have enough money for this 3, 4, 5, 6-figure NFT, but I'm able to go and just watch and earn Taunt coin by watching our streams, being able to predict the outcome of fights by just connecting my wallet with zero money down and watching our streams. Is a certain fighter gonna make a final four of a tournament? Is a fighter gonna knock somebody out during an actual fight? What's the over under of rounds on a certain fight? What's the over under on punch or special hits during a fight? So all of these can be kind of like interactive questions or basically an engagement tool for viewers to come into this ecosystem. And now, not having any money down, I'm able to get into the environment and be able to earn currency through this environment and be able to use that currency for wearables, use that currency for weapons, use that currency for entry level NFTs. And all of a sudden, I have an entry level NFT ready to go into a baseline tournament with that entry level NFT, and I had no money down. We believe what this is going to be is a real Trojan horse for daily active users and really user engagement. And we think it's going to scale tremendously. So, this whole concept of being able to watch and earn, this concept of being able to predict to earn, and this entire environment we're basically trademarking a name or terminology of engage to earn, we think is going to be a huge differentiator because Bobby mentioned it and highlighted it. And as you know, Chad, a key issue to a lot of these play to earn games is they hit a certain point of either inflation or an issue with kind of a churn rate where too many people are leaving the ecosystem where at a rate where not enough new people are entering to create demand for these products. And we believe that this will be a tool to really engage in the masses.
Yeah, that's a super unique tool. I mean, I'm surprised that other company didn't pan out well because I think I'd really enjoy just like being on Twitch, watching one of my favorite streamers trying to predict what's going to happen next in the game and earn a buck or two off of that every time I guess. That'd be pretty rad. And yeah, just adding a whole new almost like community to the game or a whole new like yeah, like what would you say like a market, like just a whole new type of player or type of watcher that can participate in your game.
Yeah, I mean, like it's like there's so much viewership now on Twitch and all of these streams. If you can make something, which is what we're doing, to one, engage the masses and be visually pleasing while like having some competitive nature, and then have your viewers that you can literally turn into your actual, these are going to be the people that are going to be playing your game by giving them a way into the game. It's a beautiful ecosystem if you can really do it right. So that's what we want to accomplish. Is it's just a full ecosystem where people are coming in, they're streaming because they want to stream the game because their fighter's amazing, and then everyone that's watching the stream is going to tune in because they have a chance to earn some money. Maybe they want to gamble against their friends. There's just like a whole type of ecosystem that you're creating that you can do really a lot with. And at the end of the day, like all of us as people up here that are in crypto or play to earn and NFTs, the whole point of this is that you want to be able to engage with as many people that are not in crypto and NFTs, right? Like you want to be bringing in people and new users and new people to the space if this is what we really believe is going to be the future of it, right? So it's a very easy way to get more people involved. It gets people, curious about the space without having to put down money because they're scared, right? A lot of people are scared to like really get involved, and this is a very easy way that they can, start to learn about the space, start to learn about crypto, NFTs, play to earn. So, we're really excited about it.
Yeah, I imagine that really increasing the stickiness of a player watching another player.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like when I used to do it myself. Like when I was younger and I played games, all my favorite streamers, I would watch them get better or like get better at the game or like just to see what they're doing, It's like that's just when you can do that and then you can get involved with the game, it just opens a whole nother Pandora's box, right?
So I think this last week you posted a pretty big announcement on just like how the upcoming like V1 release and a tournament coming out. Can you just like kind of recap like what's coming just in April for Taunt Battleworld?
Yeah, we got a lot in the pipeline right now coming up in April. So the team's been scaling. I mean, we're over 20 people deep, and it's funny because again, this is our first launch month, but we're over 20 people deep into development. There's a few different sectors. Let it be our team that's actively working towards our beta, our team that's actively working on our finishing touches of our actual Acolyte Warriors. So if you bought one of our Genesis Skull Passes, which is our founder pass, you were getting a fighter into our ecosystem, and that fighter can be used to win in-game currency in different tournaments and brawls during our beta version that we highlighted earlier. Those fighters are coming out, and we just had a recent vote in our Discord of what direction or how to drop those fighters, but we're going to be dropping them not only as fully rendered 3D different characters, but they're also going to have their own animations for each of those different characters, which is something, again, I think as our art starts to leak, as people start to see that we're already building fully rendered 3D characters, 50 different base characters into the universe, they'll know. People that are in NFTs or in gaming or in design just in general will see how much work has been put into the ecosystem. And I think that'll be the best way to naturally get an organic kind of growth and movement. And again, everything that we do and we built through our white paper will continuously drive into our ecosystem utility for our early adopters. So in the article, in our recent Medium article, we kind of hop into a little bit of talking about those characters, leaking a little bit more about the lore and how each one of these different races will have its own strengths and comes from a different, basically, ability to get advantages in certain brawls or tournaments. And in addition to that, we talk about a few members on our team. We're really excited about introducing our new CTO, Lynn. He comes from Boeing's blockchain division, which is like, the guy's so smart and he understands gaming, he understands blockchain. When it comes to things like security and scalability, we're really excited to have him on. We have a brand new director of design, Anna, who's just been making a tremendous amount of new social assets that we're leaking and we're starting to leak out into the environment. So the team is continuously growing. We have a portion of our team working on the beta that's coming out, as we mentioned. A portion of our team's in the background working on the V2 vigorously, and we believe the V2 will be our official launch party, where you'll start to see a lot more kind of green light on things as far as marketing, scalability, hype. Right now, we're just naturally kind of building that ecosystem and creating that community accordingly. But you also started to see a little bit of more leaks of actual game tidbits about, in particular, things like runes, right? Things like boosts that you could use to pair up with your individual character, and be able to increase their capabilities or their skills in certain traits. So that all came out this week. I think in the coming week or two, we'll really be able to um, broaden certain topics on the actual game flow. You'll start to see a lot more of what official tournaments are going to look like when we are going to be starting to launch the tournament. But in April, just in general, we'll be getting our fighter drop. There'll be some more about our in-game currency coming to certain launch pads. There'll be a lot more about our beta version and our first real kickoff tournaments where our community will start to be able to compete for these prize pools.
Yep. And then, I mean, another thing to highlight there is that, this is a beta, but we are putting up a 100K prize pool for that V1, which is going to be great because, people are going to be playing for money just right out of the gate for those tournaments, which is going to be great for us. And the reason we're doing it is just, we're funding it ourselves, but what we need to do is just through the beta is we really need to learn from the community what's going on. So by incentivizing everyone to play in these tournaments, we get to really learn about, what we're missing, what's wrong with the game, what we can do to improve. So that's like the push and pull with what we're going to be using that tournament for, or those tournaments in like plural tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, it's 100K for a beta, which is always great. And I'm sure that gets you guys excited as well as everyone else.
It does get us excited. We're prepping our team. We're waiting for the announcement for the dates of the tournament, and we're looking to win it.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah, we're looking to win it. I think a lot
Yeah.
of what we see in like traditional gaming is people going to like some sort of like play testing company, and hiring a bunch of random players that's on the platform to like play the game. Are you guys taking that route at all, or are you just going straight to your community who's bought your skull passes and giving them the chance to play the game first?
We're focusing in our community. We haven't done much marketing. There is a couple things in the back of our arsenal that we haven't really announced yet, but there are a potential couple trigger points that we think as we get towards the back end of the month that could really scale the demand overnight, let's just say, for the skull passes. But you've heard me say it before. We are very familiar with different marketing tactics, but right now, building the hype for something in the short term is not going to be valuable for us. It's not going to be valuable for our other fellow members of Valhalla that are in our community, or for our holders or future holders, right? I think as we start to grow, we want to make sure everyone that's coming in to our ecosystem really understands the long-term vision of what we're trying to build. They see how much ethos. So for us, we're going to be focusing just on Skull Pass holders, and taking it from there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's get into the Skull Pass. You guys have taken a kind of slow release approach, which I like. You're focusing on the game as the priority. You're letting the community discover the Skull Passes, and those who find it, are being rewarded really nicely. So can you tell us about just the plan on the slow release and what you can get out of the Skull Pass?
Yeah. So right away, as you guys know, there's right away you're going to be getting access to the Genesis fighters, our 2500, which are going to be airdropped like we were mentioning this month, as fully 3D rendered animated NFTs.
Mm-hmm.
Those are going to be used into the V1 tournament and the beta, which that immediately gets you access to the 100K tournaments. Later on down the road, the Genesis Skull Pass is going to be used for increased staking awards on Engage to Earn. We're going to have there'll be tournaments that we're actually already talking about. That'll be people that are holding the Genesis Skull Pass. There'll be tournaments that will be prize pools for that you'll only be able to get into if you do hold the Genesis Skull Pass. That's what we've already talked about. And just internally, what we've already discussed is like the Genesis Skull Pass is pretty much like considering our founders pass, right? It's like if these are people that believed in us from the beginning, they're our original people that saw us and said we want to ride with these guys. So the benefits from that going on down the line are going to be there's going to be a lot more benefits that come with holding the Genesis Skull Pass. We already had a couple partnership talks that I can't really talk about right now, but I'm sure we're going to be releasing that'll involve the Genesis Skull Pass, not necessarily the fighters as much. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of things. Like we've had a lot of giveaways and whitelist spots, and we're actually planning on having more for Genesis Skull Pass holders in our Valhalla channel on Discord. I know like I said, I can't really talk about it right now, but we're going to be announcing pretty soon. So like I said, like it's one of those things. Like we have to reward the people that come in and really believe in us early. Those are the people that really get us off the ground and really get this project going, so we can really see a lot of these things through. So it's something that we're going to be rewarding and making sure that we're always adding value to.
And Chad, I think looking at the development of just any game, especially with Jeff's background, things like in-game assets, in-game currency, those could be alpha just airdropped at random to Genesis Skull Pass holders. So this is just only the beginning of the journey, and I think there'll be more and more utility as the environment grows. But the key component is coming from the GameFi, DeFi backgrounds that we really attune a lot of our crypto success to is you'll really start to see the amplification of multipliers on engage to earn, holding a Genesis Skull Pass, on that watch to earn feature. Things like that will really be able to begin to amplify, where especially we'll start to see guilds, I believe, or larger DAOs or organizations really trying to be able to grab as many as they can to really build on those multipliers, right?
Yeah, that's exciting. That sounds like there's a few things on your website of benefits for the Skull Pass, but the vision is much bigger, is what I'm hearing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. One of the things I remember seeing on your site was just some incredible like sponsors and in terms of like celebrities and athletes and stuff. Can you just tell us like how'd you get those guys on board and into the game, just interested, right? Because there's so many other games out there that they could be interested in, but what was it about you guys that stood out to them?
Yeah, so we have a pretty aggressive IP model that you'll really start to see pan out, especially as we approach the back end of this beta and we approach the V2 of the game. As we approach to the V2 of the game and the beta is really tuned up, we'll start to really turn on our marketing. And our marketing, a lot of it's going to be coming from certain IP integrations that we're bringing into the game. So initially, it could be a combat fighter. We're really excited about our first two fighters. For UFC fans out there, Chris Cyborg is one of the probably the original number one UFC women's fighter, I would say, when things really started to scale for that entire franchise. And we're really excited about having her on board, as well as we believe the best boxer to ever live in Floyd Mayweather and the Money Mayweather branding. But there's definitely other people that we're in either talks with, have finished talks with, or looking to finalize as we approach the actual launch of the game. And each time we introduce any of these IP plays, it's interesting because they're all going to be their own marketing tools, right? Because they all have their own communities, and we're bringing in concepts of bringing in actual in-game NFTs that can be used in tournaments. When it came to our original Deontay Wilder, our original Chris Cyborg and Floyd Mayweather, I think it was a lot of what they saw was actually being developed on the game, and a lot of the trials and the betas that they actually have already been able to see. So they knew that, as well as Jeff's background in 20 plus games, 20 plus years of gaming, right? Let it be from Xbox to obviously Amazon to Double Down to EA. He's had tremendous experience on that front, and they know that the long-term vision that he has is extremely unique. So in addition to combat fighters that are a little bit more blockbuster, there's a lot of smaller guys that we're honestly just as excited about. Think of smaller WWE characters of that nature, like an Undertaker or a Hulk Hogan. Those types of IP on that type of caliber, I think, is going to be another interesting mix of how they'll start to be blended into drops as well, which is super exciting.
Yeah, going for all the fighting community makes total sense. Yeah, so I guess we're kind of approaching the end of the AMA here, and I think I'll end with one more question, then we'll give the audience some time to think about if they have any questions. But what are you most excited about for 2022 and blockchain gaming?
You want to take a stab at that, Robbie?
Yeah. I mean, for me personally, we've had this idea that we've been thinking about for, like I said, for the last 10 months. So I'm really excited to see this come to fruition. In terms of blockchain gaming, just like in general, and like play-to-earn NFT gaming, I think it's one of those things like that. Axie, again, like Saba mentioned, Axie did it really well with the Scholars Program and how they kind of approached it. But I think we're going to start seeing more, more bigger companies slash like how we talked about with esports and a lot more things. There's going to be a lot more money and a lot more, structure in how these games and how they're built. A lot of these games that are getting built, they're getting built way after than how they're usually built, where you raise money with NFTs and then they get built by someone who just hired a designer out of nowhere. I think there's going to be actually bigger, these gaming companies. They see the money that's flowing in. They see actually what's happening on that side where people want to own their assets. So I think I'm excited. I would imagine in the next 6 to 8 months to a year, we're going to see a lot of these bigger AAA games start moving towards an NFT model. And that's when I think things are really going to start to take off, and we'll get a lot more users coming into the space. And that when we keep saying we're really early, I think we're probably 6 to 12 months away from really seeing some big players in this see the opportunity that we're already seeing in front of us. So I'm excited to be ahead of it, and I'm excited to start building it. So that's
you know what's going to be pretty exciting, and I think you're starting to see it a little bit, but the concepts of like real GameFi, right? The ideas of DeFi meeting the play to earn realm and where they go. Let it be components like Magic and Treasure, right? And what they're doing over there, to this continuous battle legally, especially in the States, of can an NFT technically say staking, or like can actual entities be able to do things like rewards without being considered an equity of any sort, right? So that battle, as well as the concept of really DeFi being, besides play to earn, I think the two components that just make sense in crypto, right? When you look at the blockchain just in general, those two use cases, play to earn and DeFi, are just the most compatible, I think, to blockchain into today's society. And I think crypto's coming, and it's here without a doubt. But how fast they adapt is going to be super interesting. So I think that's definitely interesting, and to see where things fall when mass adoption comes, because it's still so early. I still think there's another boom just in NFTs in general, but you're starting to see the real meta and the real alpha go around, and people are whispering, and people that never thought they're into games or into gaming in general, that are big NFT guys, are all knowing that the next wave is play to earn. So I think where we're at right now is it's exciting, and we're still so early that 6 months down the line, it's going to be a completely different conversation.
Okay, well, it looks like we don't have any questions from the audience yet, but I have a small question for Saba and Robbie. in how many years do you think we'll see? When do you think we'll see play to earn games outperforming, let's say, free to play games on Twitch?
I
In
think
how many years?
there was a pretty aggressive hypothesis that I think it was actually GameStop came out with, but they think that the NFT gaming market alone will be, I think they said like 3 to 30 billion in the next 2 years.
2 years.
So it's a pretty wide scale, but there's going to be a tipping point, I think, when GameStop, for example, has, and I had this conversation today, but they have an ability to really scale up, I think, about 50 million users in their ecosystem that they have contacts with. And esports and gaming, or traditional gaming, hasn't really made that jump yet. And there's a lot of conflict, but it doesn't take much, maybe a percent or two of that type of ecosystem to come over to really start a huge demand or supply shock, right, of these NFTs or of whatever game that you want to play. And it really just goes back to the idea of 3 billion gamers live, right, and how wide and how far that could go. So I think we're really going to start to see things start to peak towards the back end of next year. If I had to just close my eyes and come up with a time period, but I think that's when things are really going to start to scale. And I think even in a bear market, play to earn games, guilds, these communities that are getting built are going to survive, and they're going to come out so strong.
Yeah, I think I don't think it's like is there like a competitiveness to like play to earn and free, downloadable games that just have like microtransactions of wearables. I think you're just going to start to see them more merge. I think like Saba said, in like 2 years, yeah, it's going to be kind of weird. All of a sudden you're just going to see that a Fortnite game could easily transition over to a type of play to earn game with all of their connection to IP and the amount of, they've already scaled. It's very easy for them to transition over to something that would look like a play to earn game. You just wouldn't really see it, right? They have V-Bucks that can just transform into a crypto that they would just need to put on chain. That wouldn't really be, it would obviously take a little work, but in terms of like how the game is played, it doesn't really change much. And they already are doing everything that a play to earn game could do, because you can earn V-Bucks in the game. You can do all of this stuff. It's just not necessarily money. And they already have massive prize pools as it is, right? So I just think you're going to see a transition from, if anyone can take market share from them and they're seeing their players go away, they have to either adapt or die. So I just think it's going to more merge, because people are going to become very people want to own their in-game assets. As a gamer, but I used to be a gamer myself. It made no sense for me to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on a game if I'm not going to own the assets. So I just think you're just going to see more of a merger as long as their market share gets taken away. That's just my opinion. I think there's going to be like more of a symbiosis rather than a competitive nature to it.
Yeah, that would be my hope as well. Honestly, I might go back to playing some games I used to play if I could start owning components of them, honestly.
Right. Yeah, it's like when you get to like our age, it's like, all right, well, why the hell am I doing this, right? It's like,
yeah, exactly. I need more out of this.
Right. I need something more for my time, right?
That's right. Yeah, I think that's what a lot of even whales, I think, will start to be like, yeah, I mean, I used to just be in it for the entertainment and the competitiveness and whatnot, but now that there's the option to have ownership and some earnings, like I'm if I were a whale, I sort of am, I gravitate more towards that.
Yeah, and God, that sounds cool as hell, right? Like that literally sounds like the dream you've always wanted as a kid, where you're like, I know I used to like play RuneScape, and I would be like, shit, if I could own all these assets and like actually be selling these things in an open market and like making money for my time, like that sounds like so much fun. And I think that's what we're trying to do, right? Like prove that it can work, prove it's a concept, and prove it can scale.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that's all I got for today. Thank you so much, guys, for coming. That was amazing.
Yeah,
no,
I
thank you
appreciate you guys having us.
Really great. A lot that we really want to be able to communicate, with the people who are listening and give them an idea of where the gaming world is heading. And you gave some really good insight on exactly that. And I think, like you mentioned, there's about 6 to 12 more months until blockchain gaming might enter a new phase. But people who are building now will reap the rewards of this era. I think we have one question. If you want to request Sir Joe Taunt, that'd be great. Here we go. Yeah, go ahead. Ask your question.
Hey guys, I think something's wrong with. Is Chad talking right now?
No.
Okay. Am I? Oh, you want me to ask a question? Is that what you're saying, gamer?
Oh, I thought you were raising your hand.
Oh
Sorry
no.
about that.
Sorry, I don't have any question. No, my bad. I'm having some issue with hearing the second host when I was a speaker before, so I just went back to being a listener. But no, I was just listening to Saba and Bobby talk, and I think they broke things down very, very well. So I get excited hearing them talk about it every time.
Nice. That's perfect. Well, thank you all for coming. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem,
Thanks, guys.
Have a good week,
All
guys.
right.
Have a good
See
one.
ya.
Bye.